Copyright provides legal protection to authors of original works, including literary, dramatic, musical, artistic, and certain other intellectual works fixed in a tangible form. U.S. copyright law applies to works regardless of whether they are published or have been registered for copyright. Copyright protection allows the author the following exclusive rights: to reproduce the work, to prepare derivative works based upon the work, to distribute copies by sale or other transfer of ownership, or by rental, lease, or lending, to perform the work publicly, or to display the work publicly. Copyright protection lasts for a specified period of time, after which the work becomes part of the public domain. The length of time that a work may be under copyright depends on the laws of the country where the copyright is filed or claimed. A work may be under copyright in the United States, for example, and not under copyright in Canada or the European Union. Works that are in the public domain are not subject to copyright laws. There are four common ways that works arrive in the public domain. The copyright has expired, the copyright owner failed to follow copyright renewal rules, the copyright owner may have deliberately placed it in the public domain, a process known as dedication, or that copyright law does not protect this type of work. In the United States, all works produced before 1923 are in the public domain. In 2019, copyright on works published after 1923 will expire on a rolling basis. 1923 works will enter the public domain in 2019, 1924 works in 2020, etc. The copyright on works published after 1977 expires 70 years after the death of the creator. If a work was published between 1922 and 1964, the creator was required to file a copyright renewal. If he or she failed to do this, the copyright is no longer in effect. If you plan on using a work that was published after 1922 but before 1964, you should look for the Statement of Renewal of Copyright on the published work, or research the records of the Copyright Office to determine if a renewal was filed. Some authors will dedicate their work to the public domain. That the work is to be in the public domain must be explicitly stated in the published work. In some cases, however, the person making the dedication may not have the right to do so. Remember, the creator is not always the copyright holder. If in doubt, contact the copyright owner to verify the dedication. Not all works fall under copyright. For example, titles of books or movies, short phrases such as "show me the money," or facts or theories, for example, "a comet will pass by Earth in 2027. Fair use allows people other than the copyright owner to copy part or, in some circumstances, all of a copyrighted work, even where the copyright holder has not given permission or objects. Section 107 of the U.S. Copyright Act specifies the various purposes for which the reproduction of a particular work may be considered fair use, such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use law generally relies on four factors: the purpose and character of the use of the copyrighted work, the nature of the copyrighted work, the amount and substantiality of the portion used in relation to the whole copyrighted work, and the effect of the use on the potential market or value of the copyrighted work. Scores you find on sites like IMSLP must be in the public domain. However, this does not apply to all editions of that work. For instance, even if a piece was written in 1750, an edition published in 1978 is still copyrighted. Note that recordings are also copyrighted. The artist or ensemble who recorded the work is usually the copyright holder, meaning that few recordings are in the public domain if they are not dedicated. A single copy may be made of any of the following by or for a teacher or student at his or her individual request for his or her scholarly research or use in teaching or preparation for a class. A chapter from a book, an article from a periodical or newspaper, a short story, short essay, or short poem, whether or not from a collective work, or a chart, graph, diagram, drawing, cartoon, or picture from a book, periodical, or a newspaper. A teacher may display copyrighted printed works in class that he or she owns, or that are borrowed from the library, using a document camera or other means of projection. These materials may not be distributed to the class in PowerPoint slides or through other methods of reproduction, even if they are shown in class. Multiple copies may be made by or for the teacher giving the course for classroom use or discussion, provided that the copying meets the tests of brevity and spontaneity, the copy meets the cumulative effect test, and each copy includes a notice of copyright. For more information about this, see the website listed here. Performers are required to perform from printed legal scores for copyrighted materials, including choral or vocal parts, instrumental parts, and accompanist or conductor scores. No photocopies may be used. In order to publicly perform, record, or distribute a performance, performers or ensemble conductors must obtain permission, referred to as mechanical rights, to perform the work. Mechanical rights are handled by the Harry Fox Agency for a standard rate. Even if a work is public domain, a specific edition may still be under copyright and legal purchased copies must be used. Lyrics or poetic text and translations or singing adaptations of the original texts may also be under copyright, and publication of these in a program without permission is a violation of the copyright laws. There is an exemption allowing copyrighted materials to be used in performance without permission if the performance is initiated by instructors or pupils and occurs within the context of the face-to-face teaching activities of a nonprofit educational institution, in a classroom, or similar place devoted to instruction, such as a library, studio, or workshop. There is no specific restriction in this case on the type or amount of a copyrighted work that may be performed. School or university ensembles, students, and teachers may present a performance of a non-dramatic literary or musical work at a school concert without securing mechanical rights, as long as no fee or compensation is paid to the performers, promoters, or organizers, and either there is no admission charge, or all of the proceeds from an admission charge are used for educational or charitable purposes. Performance in other venues is not included in this exception from purchasing mechanical rights. Making arrangements of a piece of music is an exclusive right of the copyright owner. Creating an arrangement or new version of a copyrighted work, called a derivative work, requires permission of the copyright holder. Music teachers may edit or simplify purchased printed copies, or make slight changes necessary for recorded performance under a mechanical rights license, provided that the fundamental character of the work is not changed and lyrics, if any, are not altered or added. There are 4 specific prohibitions under copyright law. The first is that copying shall not be used to create or to replace or substitute for an anthology, its compilations, or collective works. Such replacement or substitution may occur whether copies of various works or excerpts therefrom are accumulated or are reproduced and used separately. The second prohibition is that there shall be no copying of or from works intended to be consumable in the course of study or teaching. These include workbooks, exercises, standardized tests and test booklets, answer sheets, and similar consumable material. Third, copying shall not substitute for the purchase of books, publishers' reprints, or periodicals, be directed by higher authority, or be repeated with respect to the same item in the course by the same teacher from term to term. Finally, no charge shall be made to the student beyond the actual cost of photocopying. In order to ensure copyright compliance, it is recommended that instructors use FSU Library's Course Reserve service to make supplementary readings available on Blackboard. If the libraries have electronic access to an article, a link to the journal article rather than the PDF will be posted to Blackboard. In cases where an article is only available through the libraries in print form, Course Reserves will scan it, attach a copyright notice, and upload it to the Course Blackboard site for the time period in which it is needed. In some cases, Course Reserves can obtain copyright permission for the use of articles from journals not available through the libraries. Here's a basic checklist for maintaining copyright compliance. First, is the work in the public domain? Second, if it's not, are you using it in a way that is permitted by the Fair Use Clause? Third, are you following the guidelines for using copyrighted materials in the classroom or for performance? And finally, are you using the copyrighted material in a way that you need to secure permission from the copyright holder? This concludes the video on copyright and the use of copyrighted materials. For more information regarding specific topics introduced in this video, see the websites listed here.